In for a big one today. Legs. Not brought legs to the channel for quite a while. It's going to be a solo session. Starting with the bike, 5 minutes, a little bit of blood flow, get the legs pumped, and then we're going to fully send it. First bit of cardio I've done in a significant amount of time. 2 minutes in, we're out of breath. Heart rate's elevated though. Getting set in the mood is a big thing. Getting focused. I feel like before you go into sessions, if you're jumping in on a machine straight away, you're not going to be warm, not going to be enough blood into the muscle, and the mindset. Flicking that work mode off, putting the athlete mode on is a big thing. Also representing the clothing, amazing response to the first set of jumpers, 90% sold out. Even managed to get the little nephew one that I got sent today from Dubai, which made my day. All gas, no brakes, he knows from a young age. Success drilled into him. So up first, the prime pin loaded laying hamstring curl. So we're putting this on pin free with a prime setting, and what that essentially means is it challenges us more in the lengthened position and it drops off in the short. So it's really going to tax your hamstrings essentially starting off with this movement first. And what you really want to do is control the tempo, ensure that you're getting a nice squeeze within the shortened position, and then when it gets harder within the lengthened, you're having a pause, you're resetting, you're bracing and you're back in. I'm going to show you how to perform a hamstring curl versus how not to. First is how to. Hips locked down, fixed into the pad. These remain fixed here, and what you essentially want to do is drive up. Squeeze there, that's a short, 1 second. 3, 2, 1. The tempo is a 1 here again. Contract. 3, 2, 1. You're spending 1 second in the lengthened, 1 second in the shortened, with the eccentric 3 seconds. How not to do a hamstring curl now. Look at the hips, rising off the pad. Momentum, you're using all your body. Absolute dog shit. Stay well away from it. So first working set, 2 straight sets on this. First one, 1 time 6 to 9. Empty the tank, complete failure. Set 1 wrapped up. So hit the higher end of a rep range there. So this is the first week on the new split here. So I've undersold myself there. I've started off on 58.9 with a 15 on top of that, and I've hit 10 reps with okay execution. I'd have liked to slow it down a little bit more there, particularly in the eccentric. But for next week, I'll perfect that in terms of tempo and stay on the same load, even if that means increasing the reps and going past the set, because I want to standardize the tempo and the execution, and then I'll increase the load. The big one, going into a set, warm-up sets, feeder sets. Feeder sets typically are what I like to utilize. Of course, I've just got my legs warm on the bike before. So feeder sets, what I did before going into that top set is I felt 2 weights prior. I knew they were too light, but I just misjudged it that little bit. I would have liked to have got a little bit heavier. But as I said, I've standardized that now in terms of the weight. That's in the logbook. Now next week, the note is that I need to improve the tempo. Once I've perfected the tempo, I might lose a rep or 2, and then I'm at the perfect weight, and then I perfect that, and then I increase. But the feeder sets, 1 to 2 sets, feel the weight, 1 to 2 reps, and then you know where you're working from. Notice on the last 2 reps there, I did partials. If you're on your own, you've not got a spot, don't be afraid to take a couple of partials, because someone's spotting you, they're taking you past that partial that you're achieving when you're on your own. So if you break it down, hit a couple of partials, technically the same as a spot, but you're just not getting the muscle short, so you're taxing it within the lengthened position. Just a little tip. Position on this is massive. You see so many people training, and as they're contracting, the hips are coming up, because that's natural when you're training hard and you're obviously forcing a weight, utilizing your quads, your hips can come up. The minute your hips come up, tension's fully locked off, fully off the quads. You want to get the seat position so your feet are just perfectly aligned here. If anything, this is a little bit too far from me. Short ass. Now that's a little bit too close, as you can see, so I'd rather have it a little bit further back. scrunch and get rid of the gap here. Watch how fixed my hips are. Keep them locked in. Always think hips locked. And if I look at that, I can do with a pad one more up. Don't be scared, depending on your height, to get the pad a little bit further up your quads, because again, that's going to initiate you to be able to get the quads within a shorter environment. The important thing is not to rush the contractions. Like typically the tempo that I'd look for here, typically like a 3-1-1, so a 3-second eccentric. So I'll put a real life example together for you to a 3-1-1. 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. Yeah? Okay, so remember that. The key here is getting the quad short. So if you're only spending a split second there, you're not truly engaging the muscle. So you want to spend a good second at the top. The tempo can change. Some coaches may request 2 seconds, again it depends, but the tempo here that I would recommend is 3-1-1. So 1, 3, 2, 1, stop, re-engage, yeah? Let's get some work done now. You always want to make sure that your knees are always aligned here with the axis of rotation as well. So I see a lot of people's knees like this, or again like this. Just get them perfectly in line, okay? Let's get it. 2 sets, 8 to 12, then a back off set, so 3 sets in total. The setup wasn't exactly right. One issue that I have with this prime leg extension, I think prime's got some phenomenal kit, but the plate loaded one in my opinion is so much better, because if you look at that rep, the rep range was 8 to 12, that was a full stack. I got 13 good reps, took 1 cheeky rep. But for me, I like to get a little bit further into the length, and it wasn't allowing me. So look at this, it doesn't allow me to, so took a couple of extra reps just to allow a little bit more tension and stimulus, really. Much better that. I controlled it and had a bit longer in the lengthened just to generate a little bit more time under tension, and I failed at 9 reps. So sometimes if the machine's not the best, and don't get me wrong, I'm training out of the best gym in the world, but this is on my plan at the minute, so I'm going to run it. And I think that's another key point, like staying consistent with movements. Like if it doesn't work the first time, don't give up, try and perfect it. For me, that set was much better than the first set. I didn't spit my dummy out the pram because I wasn't happy with the first set. I kept my head on, I focused, and that was a much better set in terms of tempo, execution, and just generally the key element, mind to muscle connection. If anyone's got any good playlists, please put it in the comments. Strictly gotta be Little Baby, Gunna, Pop Smoke, 50 Cent, Da Baby, Future, Bryson Teller's 2 Bust Down for gym. Can't be listening to Bust Down while trying to bust your legs out. But I know all the tunes, but any playlists, fire them my way. Another key point as well, rest periods. Like, it's a massive question as a coach. Like, again, I think it can be completely person dependent given what the intensity level is, but compounds and isolations like should vary. If you're smashing yourself on a Cybex hack or any kind of hack or a big compound movement and you are resting for 60 seconds and your heart rate's still elevated, you're selling yourself short. Don't be scared to take a rest, let your heart rate get back down to a set state and then back in. But with isolations, be a little bit more strict with those rest periods. I like anywhere between like 90 to 120, but I've been about 5 minutes here, but I train harder than you all. Three sets, boxed off. That last set was not nice. I feel like the back off sets are a mental challenge. Got to switch on. But another key point is consistency of tempo. When I review client form clips, I said there's 4 key elements of a foam clip: the intensity, the execution, the tempo, and the consistency of the tempo. Because to me, that's 2 different things. Like, people can show good tempo for 3 to 4 reps and send you a foam clip, but if that foam clip's 20 seconds long and you're not seeing the full set, how do you know that their final couple of reps, when the going gets tough, the quality? If your first 5 reps are good and your final 5 reps are shit, you're losing out on progress. Big movement now, so a pendulum squat. Pinata, really good piece of kit, but this is quad bias. So you need to initiate your foot position so that it biases the quad, so not high and wide, which is essentially going to get a little bit more glute, a little bit more hamstring. Feet closer together, just a little bit further down the pad in this instance. What you really need to be on the money with and follow the script here is the tempo. See so many people banging 6-7 plates on a pendulum squat. The head is crushed up, the rib cage is crushed, the breathing and the bracing is all over the shop, and the tempo is the worst part. This again is a 3-second eccentric, 1 second in the hole, because what you're trying to do is fry the quads. If your eccentric is 1 to 2 seconds, the stimulus, the time under tension, completely off the chip, like completely not where it needs to be. So really think about that. Now we show you how to execute the tempo to perfection. This is a classic example of feeder sets. 3 plates, still not happy, 1 rep. Tempo was perfect, so I know that's going to be like a real life situation with a working set. Load another 20 on and do that again till I'm happy. Getting strong, must be. We'll go another 10. Hey. Hey. Truth is, I'm good at classic physique. Big set that one, happy. Tempo, intent, execution. I think with a spotter, if there was 1 more rep, but on my own I'll take it. Hey, come on. Fucking 8. 2 more. Hey. Take 1 more, you fucking. Come on, fuck off. Piss me off that. Last thing I fucking wanted. Cheers. What a stupid function on the iPhone. Literally back end of a set, someone telling me something on WhatsApp. So the only solution was to throw them out. That wasn't dramatic for YouTube. I just wanted to get the reps. Now I've lost a fucking headphone. Lesson learned. I always preach to clients, get your phones on, do not disturb. But I had one of the boys, Morgan Cox, and you will be watching this. He just nearly lost me a couple of reps on a pendulum squat, and I bet you're thinking, shut up, Beaky. But I was enjoying that set. So lesson learned, do not disturb, bangers on. I had the bangers, but forgot the do not disturb. Next up, Jim Lecco leg press. So what we're focusing on here is really holding the contractions when you're short, really frying the quads and making sure that you contract past knee flexion. So what I'm doing here is keeping my foot position essentially as low on the pad as I can. Obviously not allowing my heels to lift up, utilising my heels and my top toe. And what we want to do is really allow these to come in deep and contract out of hip flexion completely here. So no half reps, making sure that you're nice and deep. Taking every set today till complete failure, by the way. No reps in reserve. Which usually, if it was a fresh set and a fresh program, I'd always recommend reps in reserve till you've found your baseline, but we're just fully having it.
Bray. Bray.
Dipped it. 17 reps. I'm meant to get 12 to 15. Footwear's a big one as well. I've just hit a respectable weight on that with night socks on. I would not recommend. Of course, the trend at the minute seems to be barefoot, but I think as long as the hygiene is followed, I've got no beef with people doing it barefoot. Just clean the pad after, please. But Vibrams used to be the trend about a year ago. And that's because of the positioning, but I'm usually a Converse man, but I just forgot to wear them today, simple as that. Usually I'll be a Converse man. But today, we've got the Nike socks, nice and slippy surface, not recommend. One thing I'll say is, I'm excited for you all to see this come back to bodybuilding, because since the channel started, you've not really seen the real Ben Bray as a bodybuilder. You've seen the businessman, you've seen me in different countries, training at a decent intensity. I think of all of my channel, there's one real video, and if you look down, it's with AJ Morris, where we fully sent it on legs, and that's the capability. And if I commit to the cause and I stay consistent and I do that week in, week out, people have got a problem in the men's physique division. But for now, we've got work to do and a lot less talk. Reset, come on. Second set, constant tension. So you'll notice the eccentric was still free. There was no pause at either side. 20 reps, same weight. I'm getting strong, which means I'm gonna get big. 45-degree hip extension. The best teaching point I can give you for this is, imagine you're trying to crack a nut with your ass. Like literally, your ass cheeks. You're trying to crack a nut with your ass cheeks, and the girl that just walked past heard that. So, as you come out of the fully lengthened and you want to get into the shortened, you're not engaging your lower back. All you are doing is squeezing your glutes as hard as you can. Imagine the nut is in between it and you're trying to crack it. That's the best tip I can give. Without getting scientific behind it, that's what you should do really, if you want a big back off. It's important with this movement to understand when to stop, because essentially when your hamstrings are fried and your glutes are, if you keep trying to pull, that's where the lower back comes in. That's where you're going to strain it, that's where you're going to get injuries. This exercise should be hurting you with your hamstrings and your glutes. A lot of people do this exercise and be like, oh, my lower back is pumped, because you're doing it wrong and you're not engaging the right muscles. When you're at the end range, nice little stretch, allow the hamstrings to fully lengthen, and then contract the glutes and allow them to fully shorten. 3-1-1 tempo. So a key teaching point here, this set ends when the execution breaks down. How you understand when that breaks down is when the spinal or scapular position gets compromised. Because if that's compromised, what you're going to be doing is hinging, getting your lower back involved, and that's going to cause inflammation, stress and pain to that position. It's not what we're working here.
Oh.
3 sets with this one. So we've got 2 loading sets with a rep ranges of 8 to 12, and then a bodyweight back-up set, which is 15 to 20 reps. These speak for themselves. A lot of work to be done. Just need to achieve plantar flexion on every rep, every single rep. Fully lengthen it, fully shorten it, spend a nice second at the bottom and a nice second at the top with that 3-second eccentric, driving aggressively. Simple as that. So now that I've said that, I'll try and do it because I clearly don't. Three sets, 1 8 to 12, 1 12 to 15, 1 15 to 20. We won't bore you, don't worry. Machine adductor. 3 sets, 2 8 to 12, 1 12 to 15. Key point here is to ensure that you drive utilising the knees, not the feet. You'll generate better force, you're going to contract with your adductor better as well. Also set the machine up correctly as well. As you could see, I had an active range of hip adduction, which is important. You need to make sure that the adductor is getting stretched here. And the key teaching point is don't take the tension off when you contract and drive the knees together. Make sure it doesn't touch. As you can see, the training content is in full swing. And it's a different type, the intensity is there. The mindset's there going into sessions. It's not these Marbella sessions in a beach club, it's not. These are beef sessions. It's much more than that now. This is a journey that I want you all to buy into, that I want you all to follow, because we're going to see this right through, right to the competition day. And whatever way that goes, doesn't matter. We're going to show you now what work rate is from a bodybuilding perspective, how to train, how to add tissue, how to achieve a goal and do everything in your desire to get to that goal. Strap in.